to go into our first match of the day. Of course, it's going to be on Oasis. And Darksided, well, they should be feeling fairly confident going into this matchup. Their coach quoted in saying that the team are very confident that they're going to win that opening match. And I would have to say so as well, or at least I'm confident that Darksided will win this match. I think it could even potentially be a 4-0 or something like a 4-0 or a 3-1 there for Darksided.
That's definitely what I'm thinking. Look, to be fair, we'll see what Masterminds can do. But for now, after a good season that Darksided had last time around, and obviously those extra changes, what's not to like?
What is not to like? Well, perhaps we're going to find out today. Maybe Darksided just falls apart here, and Masterminds really gives us a bit of an idea as to how they're going to be playing out the rest of this season. But we'll see. We'll see. As the first fight rather does sort of kick off. Termo and Taki look like they're going to be the ones taking away the Widowmakers for their respective teams, and it's going to be a big part of these two teams. The matchup between the two Widowmakers, of course, Widowmaker in this meta, very, very strong.
Yeah, well, what we saw yesterday was really the Hanzos that seemed to do the damage, Jordan. Taki going to have to try and get out of dodge. They're actually very lucky that the Winston goes over the top and does manage to pick up Mooney there. August Knight going to get revived by Swilko. Still both supports alive here for Masterminds. And well, see you later, Yuki picks up 2. There's 3. And you are very, very right, Jordan. That is a very quick Dragon Blade, and that should swing it across the Darksided.
Well, that's a good start for Darksided, obviously. Yuki, I don't know what he was doing, but he was charging up that Dragon Blade.
He got 5?
Incredibly quickly. And so, obviously, Masterminds, they're going to, I guess, come into this with a slight little bit of an advantage in terms of the ultimates, given that Yuki's dropped his off early in that, I guess late in that fight, I should say, but early in the game, which means KS1's got his. Mastermind starting to come up on a couple there as well, but similarly, Darksided are fairly close by as well. So good chance here for Masterminds, but similarly decent chance for Darksided to hold on as we see the X-ray vision popped off there by Termo.
Certainly Will and Valkyrie in the background as well, coming through from Contenders. Yuki pushing through, already up to 60% again here, Jordan. Look how quickly that Dragon Blade ticks on up until it's ready to go. And, well, that's going to do that, isn't it? See you later, Swilko.
Menace.
August Knight's gone down in the background as well. That's both supports out of here once again for Masterminds, and Yuki will be ready with the Dragon Blade next time. Masterminds push on through, along with Molotov and Punk, both with ultimates ready to go.
He's getting pretty much a Dragon Blade every single fight, and that is a very, very scary prospect here for Darksided. Not to mention the fact that Termo is getting the better of Taki in the Widowmaker duels as well. Admittedly, in the last fight, he did have the Infrasight, so it was a little easier for him in that sense. But let's see if Taki can sort of peg something back here, because really, so far, he hasn't had the success on that Widowmaker that we've been seeing out from Darksided just yet.
No, Punk ready to go with a self-destruct. You can see that Noz is in the same situation as well. They keep going for the high ground. Mastermind's not a bad play, but it hasn't really worked out for them so far. The battle this time is not even going on in the point, and you can see that the Brigitte has come out as well now for USMC, perhaps to try and deal with Yuki here. Because to be fair, Yuki's pretty much been getting free reign. Yeah,
absolutely. He's been slaughtering the support players for Masterminds, so something needs to change here for Masterminds. KS1 able to get a kill onto Cantus, and maybe there's a chance back here for Masterminds. They find a couple of picks there. The Diva Mech, in my mind, counts as one of those picks, and, well, Yuki still does have the Dragon Blade, so maybe it's not a foregone conclusion just yet, but for Darksided, they do have a player disadvantage. They're just going to give up that fight, which is fair enough. I think that's a good choice, and they can come back in, recontest with those ultis that are about to come up.
Yeah, literally only need 1%, just have to capture it back. It's now all on the shoulders of Masterminds to hold this point for another couple of minutes. It's going to be a bit of work required, to be perfectly honest. We'll see what difference USMC does have here. Almost ready to go with that rally as well. And we saw some pretty good Brigitte play coming out yesterday as well, Jordan. So perhaps USMC are going to be on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was quite as impactful as the new Hanzo. Brigitte obviously is having an effect on the meta, and it is changing things up a little bit, but it's not a huge change. But anyway, well, here's a fight.
Yeah, this is the change that we needed to see some play coming out. But Noz goes down, Taki goes down, and Yuki again with free reign here on the Genji. Looking to capture the point back, looking to pick up the first point here on Oasis. And see you later, KS1. It's only the Mercy remaining, and Swilko goes down to Mooney. And this should be 100% on the board for Darksided, particularly when they're throwing out that self-destruct
Yeah, just a little bit of an insurance.
Yep.
But that's really, really cool from Darksided because, you know, typically we didn't really see too much Yuki on the Genji. If at all last season from memory, I don't think we actually saw him play Genji. Traditionally, he was the hit scan player for Masterminds, which is obviously his old roster. But now he looks like he's playing Projectile. Again, we might see him playing Hanzo and that kind of thing later on down the track. But Termo certainly going to be the one taking away those hit scan duties. We can see him again here onto McCree. If we need to see a soldier, it'll very likely be Termo, which again would have been Yuki's prior role. So it's a little bit of a change up there for Yuki, but he's absolutely flourishing there under the projectile DPS role. And obviously his Genji seems to be pretty up there.
Yeah, well, Pharah this time around, we see a lot of Pharah when we come through to this point. We'll see how this one plays out for Darksided. But hey, they got 100 to 50 or thereabouts, and really, even when Masterminds were getting ticks, didn't seem to have much confidence behind it. Maybe Taki will get the better of Yuki here, though. Maybe. Maybe.
Well, we shall see. You know, it's not often that you actually see a Pharah on this point, or not all the time at least. So this might be a little bit of a curveball that Masterminds weren't necessarily expecting. Tomo also with the McCree. Again, not necessarily standard here. It seems to be working against Masterminds. They're getting pushed back, rather, this unrelenting barrage of rockets from Yuki, and then Termo just popping off from a long range there as well with the McCree.
Yeah, interesting to see the McCree in there. Love to see it, as we saw yesterday, and be handy in certain situations. Noz already going to be D-Mech, and that coming out from Punk, actually. Molotov caught out by Taki. You can hear the Valkyrie in the background. Punk going to get healed up here, but going to have to wait for the moment whilst that resurrection comes through onto Molotov. But Masterminds have the point, Jordan, and they don't even need to sit on it now. They can hang back. Well,
just a good couple of picks coming out from Masterminds. Taki, got to give credit for the pick onto Molotov. That really opened the door for Masterminds to get that first cap. So now it's time for Darksided to show us what they've got, if they can actually come back in and retake this with the couple of ultimates they have. And it's actually an advantage for Darksided in terms of the ultimates.
Certainly is. Well, KS1 looking low, and Nod's going to get demeched as well. Punk trying to stay alive here in the middle ground, and well,
nice work.
GG, nice work, Yuki. And always Punk finding those kills, always finding those frags, mate, and easy does it.
Well, easy to give Yuki credit there as well, but you have to shout out Punk again with the defense matrix on the D.Va, such an integral part of that combo as well, which does help out Darksided getting the full effectiveness of the rocket barrage. Masterminds now with the difficult task of retaking the point up against 3 ultimates available for Darksided. Only a couple used there.
Well, that's it. They got to 28%, but that's not the 99 that we saw from Darksided last time around. So Termo ready to go with the Deadeye as well. Big zoning ultimate potential to come out there next time they try and push into the point. Would love to find himself a pick or two, though, in the meantime. Candace going to go down to August 9th, so this is the time perhaps that Masterminds can make the most of it. Oh, nice work there with the flashbang, but not going to be enough to push through. Booker goes down from Punk, so at least they even up the Mercy odds. But Yuki going down in the background.
Oh, no.
And, oh man, Molotov going to get booped off there by the Primal Rage of Chaos 1.
Yeah, Transcendence can't save you from fall damage, apparently, but really that fight was completely opened up by August 9th. With the Zenyatta pick onto Cantus. Great work from him. Not every fighter you're going to be expecting to get a pick like that, but if you do, and if you're Masterminds, you're just going to push off the back of it. So really, really nice opening for them, and credit to August 9th for the pick. Now Darksided again, it's flipped back over, so this is backwards and forwards, isn't it?
This is good. This is, to be fair, closer than I probably thought it was going to be. And if the rest of the match plays out in this fashion, certainly be one of the best games we've seen so far this week.
Well, now we need to see something similar from Darksided in that they need to get themselves a cheeky pick here or there, because they're just not going to win a straight-up fight with Masterminds having so many ultis.
Well, Termo out here on the Genji with Yuki now on the Tracer, but USMC's come out there with a Pulse Bomb, and Molotov's already down. Self-destruct over the top, everyone. Got to get out and dodge here, but it's not going to be enough for Termo, getting caught out there as the mech falls down into the hole.
I don't think he expected the mech to come all the way down.
No, he didn't.
He was just sort of sitting there like, okay, I'm quite safe. I'm underneath the floor. It's going to land somewhere up on the point, but just pops right down below. And yeah, he's not too keen about that one. Does go down now. Darksided, well, they're coming up on some ultimates, which they do really need. It's up to 90% now for Masterminds, and this is going to be the last fight that Darksided have here to potentially close the round out 2-0. Yuki on the Pulse Bomb.
Yeah, well, wants to find a pick because no Termo to be seen right now, but Molotov has already gone down, so that is far less than ideal. Pulse Bomb from Yuki, what can we see? You can hear a Pulse Bomb going back the other way, but this time It's not going to find anyone. Oh, Wilco going down to Yuki there. Nice pulse bomb work right in the middle of that resurrect, Jordan. That's not how you want to get caught out at all, but it's definitely a tough life there as the Mercy. KS1's found one. Taki's found one as well. Masterminds looking like they have the better of Darksided here. Only Yuki and Candace remain. And there you go, objective secured. Masterminds 100 to 52. Much better round coming out from them.
Awesome bubble out from KS1 as well. Late in that fight, you can see it was really just isolating the choke point. There was no way really that Darksided could fight their way in because they had to shoot through the bubble, and it provided perfect cover for Masterminds when they were just holding on to those final dying seconds of the point. So really, really nice stuff. And now Masterminds, they equalize at 1 apiece, which is a good result, of course. Keeps them alive here on Oasis. Down to the final round now. We'll see if Darksided are going to be able to come away with the first victory, or if Masterminds are maybe, in my mind at least, going to cause a little bit of an upset here.
Yeah, well, I said before that we thought we'd see the Farah. I actually meant on this round. I saw the Farah and went, I just assumed that we were playing this because this is where you see Yuki on it. We'll see whether it plays out differently this time. To be fair, he had one decent barrage, but that was, you know, there wasn't that much else to talk about, unfortunately. He actually swapped off, I believe, onto the Tracer at some point.
Yeah, he swapped off fairly quickly, just getting the one barrage off. But definitely this point is where you're going to be seeing, if anything, the Farah for pretty much the entire time. You can get a lot of effectiveness out of that Farah Mercy combo. And right now, Masterminds, again, they don't have too much to work around it, unless Taki can get some nice angles in onto that Farah Mercy combo. But right now, having to deal with Punk, which, again, not a bad start there for Masterminds. Making the Diva essentially makes the fight 5 versus 6.
Yeah, as much as you love the Bunny Blaster, Jordan, he's not a tank anymore, is he? And decides to jump off the edge there just to reset along with the rest of the team. Masterminds very quickly onto the point. That's precisely what they want to see. And look, good start coming out from Masterminds considering how we talked up this Darksided roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it could really go either way at this point. Masterminds certainly looking better here on Oasis. But I still think Darksided have something left in their back pocket that we're not really seeing just yet. Maybe that's to come later on down the track. For now, though, Taki really being put under no pressure.
Well, that's it. You've got to be real careful there when the snipers have free reign from behind. You can hear the trance coming through right now from August 9th. This is going to allow the rest of Masterminds to push in from behind, push in and try and get Darksided further and further back, further away from the point. And every moment they do this, Jordan, every time they get a pick or two, Darksided can't push in. Masterminds get free ticks on the point.
Yeah, Masterminds looking really, really good at just sort of disabling those fights before they even really start, and it's also allowed them to build up some nice ultimates there. They've already used Swulkos, they've already used Takis, August 9th as well. That means Darksided do actually have a little bit of an advantage here, and that's a good pulse bomb.
Yeah, going to force a Transcendence out there as well to try and stay alive. It works for now. KS1's gone down in the background. Swulko looking low, but Punk D-Max. Swulko almost down. Termo with the Deadeye ready to go, trying to chase down USMC here, capturing the point slowly but surely. Maybe. There we go.
It's a little bit of a better fight from Darksided, but to be fair, they did have a massive ultimate advantage, and they did use it to the best of their abilities. The only one not using their ulti there was Termo, but again, the Deadeye, you're not really going to be using in the middle of a fight like that anyway.
No, you bring it out there up against the Diva as well. All they got to do is hold right-click.
And we see a bit of a swing now as far as the ultimate economy is concerned. Formerly, it was favouring Darksided. Now, not necessarily favouring Masterminds just yet, but August 9th, Taki there coming up on some fairly close, and Swulko up to 61%. I mean, the Mercy ulti really does charge quite quickly as well, so Masterminds are going to come into this fight with quite a lot available to them. And Darksided, they need to hold on for quite a while. They've only got 24%.
Exactly. Well, maybe a half-decent Deadeye here from Termo could be the key to at least saving them a little bit of time. You can see a fight going into the background, and it's Molotov going to get caught out there by KS1 with the Primal Rage. No one out there supporting the support. Candace going to get the Resurrect on, at least keep these going. And now Termo actually going to go down to another support. That's August 9th picking one up. So, a little bit less than ideal. Now, what can Yuki do? Got to be careful. Got to watch out for the Umbrella.
Yeah, just not being able to quite get enough done here, I don't think, is Yuki. He gets 2 with the Rocket Barrage, which is not a bad result, all things considered. Molotov, if he cleans up USMC, maybe there's still a chance here, Ben. And he's just managed to do that. Also gets the Transcendence off. That's huge from Molotov. Yeah,
this is going to save them a ton of time. Almost going to catch them up to his 83%.
Wow.
Termo stays alive. Molotov obviously staying alive again, just popping that Transcendence in the nick of time.
Yeah, really nice work from Molotov. I think he's almost single-handedly saved that point there for Darksider because it did look like it was a losing fight, but for that nice passage of play for them. And now Masterminds, they're a little bit under the pressure because Darksider again are going to be getting that swing back in their favor. The Self-Destruct coming up shortly, Primal Rage for Mooney as well, and even Turmo's getting close to the Pulse Bomb, where Masterminds, well, they're getting close to a few, but still a little bit behind as far as the ulti is concerned. There's a pick, though, to start this fight off, and two, in fact, both the healers down.
Yeah, well, this is pretty big play. Punk going down as well. Self-destruct we thought was thrown out, but Taki finally going to get picked off by Yuki. August 9th, we saw some frags from him before. Or in the middle of healing as well. And Yuki going to go down to USMC. Turmo looking low. See you later. Taki resurrected. And Masterminds going to get up to 84% as Darksider got to 99. So Darksider, they're already 2 players down. They're going to have to wait for these guys to come back, jump on, and perhaps it's going to be Mooney with his Primal Rage to at least give them a bit of time to work with.
Well, it's right down to the wire now, isn't it? Taki winning that team fight for his team. Now let's see if he can do it again, as overtime is at least secured by Masterminds, but still one more fight needs to be won by both sides.
Yeah, well, there you go. Molotov goes down. You can hear the trance going out as well. This surely goes to Masterminds here. You'd think the picks have to go in their favor from here on out. They've still got 6. Candace goes down, looking worse and worse for Darksider right now. See you later, Punk. Mastermind surely going to pick up point 3. And our first map here as well, Jordan, in the looks of things, because this has been some great passage of play from them.
Just a trickle out there from Darksider, but it's no worries at all for Masterminds. They close out Oasis. They put themselves in the lead now in this matchup, and I did not expect to see that one at all. Darksider dropping map 1. I mean, they looked really, really solid on the first round. Yuki just absolutely destroying everything on Genji. But straight after that, we see Masterminds come away with the next couple of maps. So very, very good performance. And Taki, you've got to give a shout out to Taki on that Widowmaker. Didn't really have the impact in the first round, but in the next couple was very, very impactful.
Certainly was, and Masterminds going to take it out. 1-0 now the map score, and hey, we said maybe Masterminds will get a map. They're already there.
They've gotten one. They've gotten one. I'm not so sure, though, if they're going to get many more. Well, look, maybe it's a big call to say just after Darksider have lost that, but it just seemed like some silly little, not errors, well, I suppose they are errors and mistakes at the end of the day, but Darksider just getting picked off a little bit too early before those team fights really do start. You know, losing both of your healers like that, it's not going to happen every time like that, and I do still think that Darksider are going to be a little bit stronger in these man-for-man team fights.
Turmo. Gotta feel bad, almost feel bad.
I would feel bad.
Yeah, because this is a great pulse bomb coming out from Yuki there. Swilko in the middle of the resurrect and going to get caught out there by the ultimate.
Yeah, you kind of always know what you're going to get out of Yuki. He's such a consistent player. Really, really, I think a good addition to this Darksider roster, but we'll see how far it is going to go for them. Masterminds, yeah, look, I've been not negative about them, but I have been saying I think Darksider was going to win this match. And so far, Masterminds are absolutely proving that incorrect. And you look at the roster here that Masterminds have got, you kind of think, okay, well, what kind of results would we expect out of a team that's kind of really very newly formed, has a few players that didn't make the top sort of tier of competition last year. You know, you've got players from Knock Predators on that, which, you know, again, they're not bad players, but as far as the top tier of AU contenders,
well, they didn't get the results last season. That's
exactly
the reality.
They didn't get the results that they needed. So you've got half the roster from that Knock Predators lineup, and then half the roster from Darksider / Masterminds, and it's kind of a question of where do we expect these players to really hit their peak, and maybe they are going to be able to hit a new peak here this season with these with this new Masterminds roster, but it's kind of still just a bit of a case of wait and see. But on the other side, you've got all Darksided players, which are all very, very well-experienced players. They were all up there last season, and they're a little bit more of a known quantity, I think, is maybe the TLDR.
Yeah, I guess the reality here, Jordan, is that if Masterminds can pick this one up and take away the victory here from Darksided, that's the top team on the table that's already out of it for them. They don't have to worry about playing against them again.
At least that's the storyline that we're selling. Yeah, we don't know who's the top team right now.
Well,
it is the first day.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. Let's just get on with it. I just want to see map 2. So, throw up the maps on the screen. We'll see what Darksided have pick. Archenwald, we saw this yesterday. I suspect we'll see a lot of it, to be perfectly honest. And this means that Masterminds get to pick the side. You would think you go defense first.
Yeah, I would suppose so. That's typically what we've been seeing throughout Contenders. Even so far this season, I was kind of tracking it yesterday, and I think every single time someone got to choose the side that they started. Yeah, every single time. So it was either Blank Blue or Bin Chickens for their respective matches. They always chose to, or rather Sydney Drop Bears and Legacy for their matches. They always chose to start on the defense first and force their opponent to attack first. So we'll see.
When it comes to control points, it really did seem that the Masterminds had the better of them. We'll see how this plays out now we move over to the hybrid map. Yesterday we saw I think we saw a game where almost we didn't get past the first point.
Yeah, that was the Drop Bears almost holding Blank Blue to the first point,
man,
but inevitably they kind of held them even before the second point, which is still a very good result. On Eichenwald, you really want to be getting through at least to the third phase of the map, kind of around the corner, almost to the final cap, and that's the kind of things where things really get stuck a little bit. But if you can get to there, you still have a decent chance of holding it off. But if you can't cap the first point, or if you can't get through the second phase of the map, then I think you're probably in a little bit of trouble. We'll have to see how these two teams play it out, though, and it is going to be the guys on Darkside starting on attack, actually. So that's a little bit of a surprise.
Well, no, Darkside picked the map.
Oh, that's right. So, yes, actually, it's not a surprise.
It's not a surprise. Don't worry, we'll get there. Don't you worry your little head about it. Big thanks to McDonald's Australia, Jordan. They're supporting Overwatch Contenders Australia, supporting our region here. Great to see companies like Macca's coming through. We're both big Macca's fans.
Yes, yep.
And both big esports fans. So, in my mind, it makes perfect sense.
It does. Big Overwatch fan as well. Just saying.
Yeah, well, particularly. In particular.
Yes.
In particular.
Termo once again going to be out on the Widowmaker. No counteracting Widowmaker here for Masterminds just yet. Taki actually taking away the Pharah. So, Pharah Mercy combo on both sides.
And KS1 going to be coming out on the Orisa here as, well, one of the two tanks. Noz, we'll see what Noz can do. But it's going to be Taki onto Termo to kick this off.
That's not fun when you see a rocket headed straight at your face, but of course Res is available for Cantus, so still 6 versus 6 right now. And it's really a war of attrition, isn't it? At the moment, it's going to be who can get that first pick that actually matters.
Well, that's it. It's really the first pick that you don't get resurrected, I suppose. And Yuki actually going to cop one almost to the face there. Termo going to D-mech Noz, so maybe this is going to open up an opportunity, but Mooney goes down, Yuki goes down. Termo brings one back. You can see KS1 sitting here on the payload, trying to protect the point, trying to stop Darksided from getting any sort of headway. And for now, looks like Darksided are going to have to fall back, at least for the moment. Won't get any sort of tick there. Still
struggling really to get through that Orisa shield. It's a little bit tough when you're a Pharah and you're trying to shoot the shield. And it's a concave sort of shield, so there's not really any way to get around it or above it or anything like that. But Darkside are now finding a couple of picks, and they're both of the healers down as well. Swilko on August 9th. Not much you can do without your healers. Masterminds are in trouble now.
Certainly are. USMC going to go down in the background as well. You could hear that the Deadeye was ready to come out as well. So I didn't really think anything came from that, to be perfectly honest. And surely now Darksiders should be able to pick up the capture here onto the payload. Particularly with Noz going down quite late in the piece. I think maybe trying to trickle back over the top. I think he actually went down a little bit earlier. So 3 ultimates as well now for Darksided to use to try and get this around that first portion of phase number 2.
Yeah, that's not a terrible cap time really for Darksided. 4.5 minutes to play with here. They've got plenty of time to get through this second phase of the map, and that's obviously going to be their objective. Now coming into the second phase, they do have now a big advantage with Termo getting rid of Taki. The res is going to be popped off, but it does mean that no res available for the next 30 seconds or so. So if Termo can find another kill here, that's big news. Not to mention the ult advantage, which is what I wanted to talk about, the Darksided do have right now. And in this fight, they're opting not really to use too much. Yuki does throw his out, and Punk actually drops his as well. So maybe investing a little bit more than they needed to there when it was already a lost fight.
Yeah, that's odd getting caught out in such a position. The payload not really having moved at all past that very first point. Trying to get under the keep, I suppose. But great work from Masterminds to try and get a bit of a stranglehold here, trying to get back into it and slow things down, which they've seemed to have done successfully. Plus now Noz with that self-destruct ready to go can slow this process down a little bit more.
Yuki swapping over to Hanzo, so this is going to be the first time we'll get to see him on that hero. USMC finding the first pick, and he's also swapped over onto the Widowmaker just to counter Termo, and that's a perfect start to the fight there for Masterminds, and a nice little bit of a feel-good kill there for USMC as well as he gets one over Termo.
Yuki, you can see there on the Hanzo, but not going to be good enough for USMC right now, and USMC actually got a number of picks in a row, including even headshotting, I think, Punk there as well, bringing him down very, very low, forcing him back. So, Dark-sided, they had about 4.5 minutes, Jordan. They're down to almost 2.5 minutes here. And to be fair, they really haven't got that far. Masterminds doing a pretty good job on defensive here in Phase 2.
Yeah, USMC, one of those players that used to be on Dark-sided, and Swilko are the two that have swapped over to Masterminds. So for them, this is a particularly important matchup to just get themselves that high ground over their former teammates. So far, they're doing pretty well, actually. They're really keeping Dark-sided at bay here on Eichenwald, and they've already won map 1, so maybe that storyline I was telling about Dark-sided winning this matchup is not necessarily going to prove true. Oh, maybe he wants to reset.
Yeah, well, I hope so, to be fair, I hope so. Going to use this opportunity as Dark-sided find a few kills to get this payload moving around the corner. Masterminds resetting, Taki going to move across to Hanzo.
Just seemed like a very, very early reset, I thought. Regardless, though, that was a very good hold for Masterminds. They take almost 2.5 minutes off the clock there. Ooh, Taki, very strong on the Hanzo, apparently.
Yeah, nice work. Candace going for the res there. You can see now that the Dragon Strike is ready to go. Yuki trying to find a great time to use it. Not going to be right now, however. There's that self-destruct finally being used. Going to try and push people off the point, give Dark-sided a bit of a foothold to continue this progress. But maybe Yuki not having as much luck here on the Hanzo as we saw a few players have yesterday.
No, I don't think so. Taki has definitely been having an impact, though. I think at the moment, you've got to say, Masterminds, their DPS players are actually putting out a lot more damage and a lot more hurt than the Dark-side ones are. They're certainly looking scarier, just from what we can see.
There's the Dragon Strike coming through. We'll actually manage to do a bit of damage, but it's KS1 going to go down to Termo in the end.
Eaten. Punk. Wow, that one was a little bit too telegraphed by Taki.
You got to be careful. Umbrella going to catch you out if you're not careful enough. So August 9th finds one. Taki going to get resurrected. Masterminds going okay still here on defense, but maybe Dark-sided are going to be able to get back onto this payload. It looks maybe... Are they going to get the better of this fight or not? It's really all over the shop, and a number of players actually fighting inside the keep there. Jordan makes it very tough for the healers to keep everyone alive.
Also very tough for someone like, Termo. I was going to say, it's always tough for him when there's a couple of big tanks sitting in the way and you're sort of fighting in an enclosed space. It's kind of difficult to get the shots around those tanks. But now that we're back out into a little bit more of open ground, Dark-sided have a better chance here. In saying that, though, there's only 17 seconds left on the clock, and Dark-sided, well, they don't have a lot to work with here. They've got the Transcendence, and Self-Destruct will be coming up shortly, but Masterminds actually have the better of it as far as the ults are concerned. So this is going to have to be a heroic fight from Dark-sided. They need to find those picks with the snipers before things get off too quickly.
Yeah, Dark-sided with the ult disadvantage as well. Mooney going to go down. That's a real bad start. Punk, D-Mech, surely this is it. Masterminds doing really well on defense right now. You can see that Dark-sided have thrown out the trance. No, the Masterminds even thrown out the trance from August 9th, so easy done. That was actually particularly unimpressive from Dark-sided.
Yeah, it certainly was expecting a bit more there again on Eichenwald. I said it, if you can't get through that second phase, you're in a little bit of trouble. So I gotta say, I think Dark-sided in a little bit of trouble right now. Masterminds, for me, so far, are definitely looking like the better team, but there is still another half to play here. So who knows what can happen in the second half. When Dark-sided does move over onto that defense, I gotta say, though, I think they're gonna have to hold it in first point here.
Yeah, it's very tough to stop the payload at this point. Normally, it gets back onto the bridge at least. Yeah,
it gets around the corner. So you either need to hold the first point or you need to hold them under the archway, I suppose, just after the first point has been captured. If you are Dark-sided here, but 10 times ahead for them now because there is a real potential that they go down 2-0 here, which is not the result that they were looking for, absolutely. Unless they have a fantastic defensive side here on Eichenwald.
Well, it's going to need to be pretty good, Jordan. Maybe, look, we talked up the Dark-sided roster. Maybe this is a meta thing. Maybe. Masterminds just suit this style of Overwatch a little bit better. There's been a lot of changes, obviously, not just since a month ago, but since the start of Contenders Season 1, which was on a number of patches ago.
Yeah, well, we're not really seeing Dark-sided on any crazy out-there heroes. I mean, with the exception of Yuki playing Hanzo, these are all pretty comfort picks. Yuki played a fair bit of Pharah, or has played a fair bit of Pharah in the past. Termo, we're accustomed to seeing him on the Widowmaker as well, but it's just not working right now for Dark-sided, it seems. They need something to kick them into gear, and maybe that loss on Oasis, and now the result here on their attacking side is just enough.
Well, yeah, I thought that the loss on Oasis would be
It's pretty
enough,
much time
right?
now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
If you're thinking, okay, well, we've got to warm up into this match, well, in theory, now you should be warmed up. Because Masterminds are looking very dangerous.
Yeah, Masterminds are more than warmed up, Jordan. They are on fire right now. It's been a great set so far coming out from them. And, well, if they can... to be fair, their regular season in Season 1 was fantastic.
That's a much better start to the round here for Darksided. Turmo just popping the head off Taki. Of course, the res.
Force back in the end, but we'll see what we can do here. Turmo holding back for now. You can see trying to push through other tanks, but it's going to be August 9th going down very quickly now to Turmo.
Not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure how happy Turmo is with that attacking side, because he's really come into this defensive side with a very strong start, looking pretty deadly. Those two picks from Turmo have essentially kept Masterminds at bay for, well, this entire time that we've seen so far. It's the power of getting those picks. I'm going to wait for the respawns if you are Masterminds. 3 minutes still to hold here for Darksided.
A lot of time to work with. Masterminds just need to bide their time. Well, the time seems to be now, Jordan. They try and push back onto the point here. You can see the Winston pushing through. Everyone's still alive. Taki going to take a little bit of damage here on attack, but still staying alive. KS1 looking very low. Got to be careful there. Noz in a pretty bad position as well, as KS1 does eventually go down to Yuki. August 9th picked up, and that should be that here for Masterminds here on attack. They're going to have to drop back, regroup, try again. As we get to about 2.5 minutes, probably 2 minutes on the clock by the time they find themselves back here again.
That was pretty much a 5v6. Masterminds going, or the majority of Masterminds going through the main choke, and USMC was sort of just pattering around the back of the map, not really doing a whole lot. Turmo did have eyes on him because of the infra side, and as a result, USMC just couldn't get anything done. So Masterminds play a disadvantage really in that fight, but USMC is still around the back. Maybe he can have a bit of a difference in this fight now if he can catch someone off guard, as he does come around the back, but again, Darksided is so aware.
They certainly are, and they need to be, Jordan. 3 ultis on the board here. Make that 2 as Mooney going to go and pop the Primal Rage and makes life real difficult now. Punk finds 2 here on defense as well. So Mastermind's definitely now going to need to reset, need to get out of dodge. And heck, USMC throwing out a pulse bomb. Not so sure about that, to be perfectly honest.
Well, the fight was sort of still in the balance. If USMC hits that pulse bomb, D-Mex Punk, there is a chance actually that Masterminds can get the better of that one, but Punk has certainly single-handedly saved that fight for Masterminds, well, rather for Darksided. They did lose a couple of players very early on in that fight, and then he picks up the double kill on the self-destruct and a pick onto August 9th as well, which keeps Darksided alive here, enough to trickle back in. Taki being defended well by his D.Va, but eventually will go down. Yuki also gets dropped in the meanwhile, so it's a trade at the Faros. The res comes across though.
Out to 75%. You see the self-destruct coming through now, but it's not going to be enough. Doesn't find any kills, but it doesn't matter. Still picks up one onto Swilko. Noz pushing onto Molotov. You can see the point getting awfully close. 86% right now. Masterminds lose 2. Darksided seem to have less players, but perhaps the rest of them are now on the point. If he can find Yuki, he won't. Noz going to go down there. And another self-destruct coming through already so very quickly. Is that coming up, Jordan? 45 seconds on the clock, and Darksided trying their all. They just need to keep it here if they're going to win this match, I reckon.
I don't know if that Transcendence was absolutely necessary at that point for Masterminds. It really seemed like Molotov was the one that was causing the problems. I don't know, maybe we saw August 9th get low, but regardless, that is a Transcendence push, popped early or forced by Darksided. Still backwards and forwards here, but ever so slowly that timer is ticking down. 17 seconds left on the clock, and even if Masterminds cap through here, they have taken a long time to get the first point. Masterminds
have been getting the kills. They will get the point, but only with 8 seconds on the clock. As I say that, actually, in the very, very nick of time at 97%, they get back on there. Swilko and USMC doing their darndest to keep their hopes and dreams alive, to keep this to a 0.1 stop. And well, maybe with Taki now back, maybe with Taki almost on the ultimate, Masterminds were going to pick that up, but not this time around. You can see the ulti almost ready as well there for Noz. See where that self-destruct can be used. Darksided have managed to get onto the point. Darksided are bringing it back. Darksided looking to keep this in the game, Jordan, as everyone pretty much alive for them right now, and Masterminds.
Mooney, the Soldier God.
Wow.
He's swapped off the Winston onto the Soldier, I guess just to get to the point a little bit faster, but in the end we see triple DPS for Darksided. When was the last time you saw that one For me, it was almost like a year and a half ago, I think. But yeah, it's just a crazy, crazy defense there from Darkside. A very, very sort of dirty, scrabbly kind of defense. But Punk, you absolutely have to give him the play of the game there, don't you? He saved that point for his team. If he had not got those 2 kills with the self-destruct, and then potentially even that follow-up as well onto August 9, that was all done, and Masterminds cap out the first point, and we sort of thought if they get the first point, they're going to easily be able to get the second.
Yeah.
But now it's one apiece.
It is. It was at like 98.6%, and I was positive the Masterminds were going to pick up that first point, but it wasn't to be, Jordan. It was not to be. Getting through there in the nick of time, well, that's the way you got to do it, because this second phase was going to be a real struggle for Darksided on defense.
Yeah, Tomo was quite impressive on the Widowmaker as well, and he had his moments. Well, across the board, Darksided looked a little bit better there, but even still, it was not the solid win that I expected to see from them. Masterminds really being able to push Darksided here, so things might not be all working as at least I predicted for both sides.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we thought Darksided were going to win this matchup, and Masterminds had a pretty good Oasis, and then looked like Darksided had a pretty average start on Eichenwald, and then, yeah, Masterminds just couldn't get it across the line there on the first point.
It's been a really good matchup so far, though, because so far we've seen 2 very, very close matches. Oasis went down to the 3rd and final map, and both teams got to 99% there as well. And then Eichenwald, while both teams didn't really manage to get too much done on their attacking side, both were very strong on defense. So it's really still up in the air here. Both teams seem really, really evenly matched at the moment.
Well, Assault is up next, so let's go and take a look at what map we're going to be playing. What have Masterminds picked? It's Temple of Anubis. Map that we've seen already so far this season, and that I think both teams got all the way through to the end the first time, but I think it was a struggle second
Drop
time
Bears
around.
versus Blank Blue. Well, Drop Bears kind of held Blank Blue almost to not being able to cap that second point, but Blank did eventually get it in overtime. In the end, Drop Bears kind of came away with a fairly good time of their own and were able to cap out pretty easily in the overtime, with only having capped 1 tick of the first point of Temple of Anubis. That's pretty easy. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see how the map does play out here for another matchup. Certainly will.
Well, we are halfway through our first match here of day number 2 of Season 2 of Overwatch Contenders Australia. It's Darksided up against Masterminds. We're going to go to a very quick break, and when we come back, it's going to be Temple of Anubis.